What is up, everybody? Jarrett from Empire of Assets here, and today we have a little bit of a out of the norm video. This is something that I have been recently super into when I kind of take a little hiatus from making videos. It's something I feel pretty strongly about. It's something that's very decisive, has people divided, but we are talking about NFTs today and kind of my thinking on them, why I'm invested in them, why I like them, how I pick projects, and then just kind of go from there. I'm sure a lot of people have probably already clicked off the video or never even clicked on the video because it is about NFTs, and my channel up to this point is mainly cards. This does not mean I'm getting away from cards. I'm still into cards. However, there's kind of two different reasons that I am a little more bullish on NFTs. And particularly what I'm going to be talking about is play to earn NFTs, or NFTs that work in video games. That is the category of NFTs that I am most bullish on, and that is mainly for the reason that I see how popular skins are in games. I've played video games my whole life. I enjoy video games, and I have always thought that being able to actually sell what you own in the video games would be absolutely huge. We've seen it with Axie Infinity, how basically a Pokemon style game where you actually own them, you breed them, you can then sell the ones that you breed. I just think it's an absolutely revolutionary idea. I think NFTs in general are incredible, but I think that play to earn is one of the more easy ways to implement them, where it really makes a lot of sense right from the get-go. Stuff like selling a house via an NFT contract is going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the line, whereas play to earn games, NFTs in video games, I could see, it's happening now. There is some games out there. I do play one of these games, and then I would say 2022 is really going to be the year of NFTs in video games. There's a lot of different projects that are supposed to launch this year, and I think it is going to be a great thing to happen in 2022, something I'm really looking forward to. I think if you do some research, get in, you can really do very well for yourself. However, this is not financial advice. Talk to a real financial advisor if you want financial advice. This is purely for entertainment. So that's kind of why I broke it down on why I like it more than cards. I think the NFT space has a lot more room to grow. Obviously, cards has just gone through 2 years of basically the biggest market explosion of all time. Many cards have doubled, tripled, 5x, 10x, 100x in price. And I think we are capped out on the majority of stuff. Now, I did make a video about Star Wars cards, and I do think some niche categories like that could grow. And then obviously certain athletes that do very well will blow up. Maybe certain inserts, different stuff like that is going to continue growing. But for the most part, I don't think a first edition base set Charizard is going to go up from, I don't know what they were, 50,000 to 500,000 like they did during the big run bull up, during the big run up during the last bull market. Whereas I think NFTs, obviously a lot of projects have gone crazy. Bored Ape Yacht Club, probably one of the most notable ones. CryptoPunks, stuff like that has really exploded. But a lot of these video game ones are still pretty small, still pretty untapped, and I think they have a lot of room to grow and a lot of potential. So that's kind of the first reason. The second main reason is if I own a card, I'll grab one here. We'll grab the old Light Dragonite. This card, if I buy it for $200, it sits on my shelf until I decide to sell it, at which point I no longer have the card, and I have whatever I gain from the card, but it doesn't pay me any sort of dividends. I don't get anything from owning this card other than just getting to enjoy it, but there's no sort of financial incentive to hold the card other than when it finally sells, which is definitely one of the biggest downsides of a lot of different classes of assets. Collectibles being the main one. Stocks, they do pay dividends, but usually dividends aren't great. That's usually a pretty small percentage, and it's just not a huge part of it. Bonds don't pay dividends. Well, I guess they do, but again, a very small chunk of it. So it's just one of the big downsides of collectibles is that you don't have any way to really spend X amount of dollars and then earn a small income off of that, unless you're doing something like making videos or you're a distributor and you're selling product. But for the average person just buying a collection, you're not going to get any sort of incoming cash flow from that. And one of the goals of the channel and one of my personal goals has always been to be able to not have to work for somebody else, to be able to work for myself. And the number one way to do that is not having $10 million worth of collectibles. It's having $40,000 to $70,000 a year of cash flow that you can use to live on. So all the collectibles in the world really don't mean a ton unless you can convert that to cash flow. And that is just my personal goals. Maybe some people out there do want a $10 million collection, but I personally would rather have the freedom to choose to do what I want with my time. Which brings us to NFTs and play to earn gaming. They are one of the major categories, like real estate, I guess, is another good example. But these are allowing you to either hourly or every time you play the game, or weekly, daily, whenever, they are distributing out the coin that you can then sell on the open market. And it basically allows you to make gains and then have cash flow coming from these assets, which is something collectibles doesn't allow you to do. And cash flow, well, it is a tax liability for the ultra rich. For the average person, for most people, cash flow is king. It just lets you do so many different things. Whereas, say a collectible runs up 10 times, you have to make the decision, do I sell it? Then you take that money, you have to find somewhere to put that money. Cash flow lets you buy a little something here, buy a little something there. It keeps coming in, you can save it up, you can trade it. It gives you so much more flexibility when you have, say, $100 a month for as long as you can see in the foreseeable future, versus having $1,000 all at once in just a one-time sale. And building up enough cash flow, like I mentioned before, lets you kind of be your own boss and not have to work a 9 to 5 if you can get to that point. So that is the whole intro on why I like NFTs right now. I know a lot of people, I even personally don't like a lot of the art ones. If you scroll through OpenSea or Immutable X or a lot of those, all you see is this bizarre artwork that people are selling for hundreds or thousands, or in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it does absolutely nothing. It gets you access to a cool community, but right here on the YouTube channel we have a cool community, so why would I need to spend thousands of dollars on that? But it just doesn't make sense to me, and eventually it's going to crash, right? Like, there's only so much demand. Even looking at people compare it to art, it is art, but comparing it to Picasso, how many people are out there really trying to buy a Picasso? Not that many people. Even if I had the money to buy a Picasso, I don't know that I necessarily would. It's just not something I'm interested in. It's not cool. I think NFTs are really going through a huge bubble right now. I think the vast majority of these things are going to be worthless. Nobody wants the 56th version of some sort of ape dressed in human clothes that looks like he belongs on a yacht. It's overdone. It's silly. I definitely props to those people that own an original CryptoPunk or an original Bored Ape Yacht Club or any of that stuff. And nothing against any of the projects. I do enjoy looking at some of them, but I personally don't own any just art NFTs. And I think that the market is so overhyped right now that it's going to burn a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people upset about it, and I totally understand where the majority of people come from when they say NFTs are stupid and dumb and don't make sense, and it's a huge waste of money, it's bad for the environment. I understand all of that. So, flipping over to the play to earn stuff, which I already talked about, it's basically assets in game that you actually own, that some of which earn you money in the game or earn you different items that you can sell in the game. So with that all out of the way, I guess I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about some of my NFT investments, maybe some projects to look at if you're considering it. The first one is Gala Games. They basically have the Gala coin, currently trading right around like 45 cents, between 40 and 45 as of the making of this video. And they are sort of an NFT company. They have a couple of their own games, but then they're also teaming up with other developer studios to make games, and then they basically incorporate NFTs into the games and help with that side of it. And then the Gala chain, which is supposed to be the blockchain that the Gala coin will operate with, is supposed to be launching sometime in Q1. And this will basically allow you to much more easily and cheaply trade these in-game assets. So the big game that they have out right now is called Townstar. It is a sort of like Farmville type game, and it's not great. In my opinion, the gameplay is not great. The AI in the game, like your little farm people that work for you, have terrible AI. They're incredibly stupid. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not a very fun game. However, I did buy two Vox collectibles, they're called. They look like little people, and that is one of the ways to earn Town Coin by playing Town Star. Every day you complete a task of gaining 1,000 stars, which you do just from selling different items in the game, and then you get to collect your reward. I got in on these Vox collectibles really early. I thought that it was a good idea. I knew that they were going to be able to be placed in the game before they were able to, so I kind of see that the demand for these might creep up. And then I bought two of them for right around $2,200. I sold some other crypto stuff that I had, purchased two of them, and it has gone extremely well. Just some rough numbers, I guess, for you guys to see what is possible. Spent $2,200. They are currently worth, one's worth about $8,200, and the other one is worth, I believe, like right around 4 ETH almost, which would be 4 times like 4,000, so 16,000. So close to like $22,000 to $24,000 that turned into with the two collectibles there. And then they generate 128 roughly Town Coin every day. Town Coin was at one point worth over $2, so that would be $250 a day. Now it's worth about 66 cents, so way down from the all-time high. But it's still generating, I think, what turns out to be right around 30 grand a year, which is absolutely insane for an originally $2,200 investment. Now, if you wanted to go buy one of these right now, you're going to get a lot worse return because the market has already blown up. However, I do think there is huge opportunity in the next upcoming Gala games, and I definitely suggest you jump in the Discord if you're interested in any of this. And like I said, do your own research. They have a ton of different games. They've teamed up to have a Walking Dead game. There is a Legacy, which was another one that kind of made some headlines when they sold a ton of land for this game. That is sort of be like you run your own startup and build stuff and then sell it. A lot of the details haven't been released, and a lot of these are very early stage. However, the next game that looks like it will launch for them is called Spider Tanks. And Spider Tanks is a 3v3, sort of like a online battler. So you have a spider tank, which is like looks like a little spider. It's got a weapon on top of it. There's all different weapons. There's all different bodies. You put a weapon and a body together, and then you and 2 other people battle against another team of 3. In an arena, there's different objectives. I think there's one that is basically like deathmatch where you just try and get kills. There's a capture the flag, sort of like your traditional Call of Duty modes. And this game is really good. This is one of the first NFT games that I've seen where the gameplay actually looks like it would be fun to play if it wasn't just for the earnings of the game. Something like Axie Infinity, it's like a really bad Pokemon, and I just don't think people would play it unless there was earning potential. The Town Star game that I mentioned before, again, it's not very fun. I don't dread logging on to play it every day, but I definitely don't look forward to it. Whereas Spider Tanks is a game that actually looks fun, and it is playable right now. If you buy a tank and a weapon, you can jump into the closed beta, or the beta, I guess. It's not closed, anybody can get into it, and you can play the game right now and see how it feels. I think this game has a ton of potential. And then the NFT side, the earning side, one of my big things against Town Star is that if you don't have an NFT, you don't earn anything. And now to buy an NFT, it's several $1,000s, so the average person can't get in on it. Whereas Spider Tanks fixes this problem, where if you are what they call a captain, you own a tank, and you're not actively playing with the tank, you can actually kind of put it out into the game. And when a player that doesn't have a tank clicks play, it will randomly assign your tank to them. If they win the match and win rewards, they will share a part of that with you. So this is great because it allows people that don't have hundreds or thousands of dollars to actually start earning in the game just by playing, and it allows people that own tanks to sort of easily lease them or contract them out to people that can then turn around and play the game with them. So it will make you money even when you are sleeping, when you're unable to play, when you're away from your computer, which is an absolutely huge thing. And I think it's something that a lot of people are underestimating because it's not something that you can do in games like Axie Infinity right now. You can't play unless you spend $500 on a team. There is a couple other pieces to this. One of them is maps. You can actually own the map that the tanks play on. And then there is factories as well, which generate parts, and then parts are what you are going to use to upgrade your tank. Nobody knows the earnings of this stuff yet. It's not out, but like I said, it is supposed to be coming in Q1. Right now, the only two things you can buy are tanks and maps. The cheapest map is going to cost you right around $11,000, so definitely a huge investment. But I think you can put together a tank for probably right around 300 bucks. I think the cheapest parts are just over 100, and then by the time you put gas fees in there, you're probably going to be in it for close to 300 bucks. But for 300 bucks is definitely something that if you just want a little exposure to this, it could be a pretty good investment. Personally, myself, I am hoping to buy a map. I'm going to try and shuffle some things around, maybe sell some other stuff to try and get to the point where I can own one of those, because the factories are placeable on maps. So I believe if you had a map and then somebody put a factory on it, you'd get part of the parts that are generated. And really, I'm just pretty bullish on the game. Obviously, it's high risk, it's crypto, it's even a niche in crypto. So there's a lot that could possibly go wrong, but it is a project that I am super, super excited for. Gala Games has a bunch of other big name games that I'm not really going to talk about. The biggest one is Mirandus, but that game looks like it is quite a ways away from being playable, and I think one of the biggest things people aren't considering when they're investing in these games right now too is how far away is it from being playable. Even if you stick, say, like let's say you have $1,000 and you put it in two different games, and one game comes out in Q1 and one game comes out in Q3, and the Q3 game is going to make you 5x, so it's going to be worth $5,000. Well, it makes a lot more sense if the Q1 game isn't going to make you 5x. Let's say it's only going to make you 1.5 times on your money, but it's earning you continuously. So if you put the money in the Q1 game, you put your $1,000 in, and it's generating you, I don't know, like 50 bucks a day is a lot. Even if it's generating you $10 a day though, and that other game doesn't come out for 180 days, you're going to have made what? You have your original $1,000 investment, which could have gone up if there's more demand for the game to buy that. And then you also generated 1,800 bucks worth of whatever in-game asset is tradable. So then you have $2,800 to stick into this really cool game, even if you want to get completely out of it. So it just makes a lot of sense to me to look at projects that are sooner to release and actually have a playable game than some far-fetched, maybe coming in 2023 type of game. I think it's a lot safer. The quicker you get your return on your investment back out, the safer it is, and it's always better to be playing with house money than playing with your own money. So that's a little bit of advice there when you're looking for games, and just something to consider that I think a lot of people don't consider. And then the other game that I wanted to mention is one that I have also been in for a little bit, also not playable, but the big thing going for this one, it is a mobile game. I know how popular mobile is. I personally have been pretty much exclusively only playing games on my phone. It's just so much easier when I'm at a dentist appointment waiting to go back in the waiting room or whatever, or you're in the car, to just pull out your phone, play a game for however long you have, 15 minutes, an hour, than it is to sit down at my desk, fire up my computer, fire up a game, and then I just feel like I'm wasting so much time, where it's a lot easier to play on mobile. So I did a lot of research on mobile games, and one of the ones that I found is called Guild of Guardians. It is an RPG. You create sort of a team of characters. You go into a dungeon. Again, this one probably doesn't have a ton of play to earn, or it doesn't have a ton of play to earn mechanics released yet. It's still pretty early on, but you can buy characters. And I just checked today. This one I did spend $1,000 on characters in. And doing a little research, it looks like it's gone up to almost $3,500, and the game hasn't even launched yet. So there is another one to maybe look into. You can buy a hero for about $50 if you get one of the most basic ones. And I think it's either a team of 3 or 4 to build a full squad. But that is another game that I'm super excited about that I think is supposed to be launching in the next, let's say 6 months instead of year or year and a half. So really excited for that one. Another one to maybe consider looking at if you are interested in the play to earn gaming space. That's all I had for you guys today. Again, I just wanted to cover this because it's something that I'm super into, and I think it's important to share that with everybody that has been following the channel. I will continue to do cards. I'm not moving on from cards. I'll continue to cover Metazoo, Pokemon, Star Wars cards, all of that stuff. I am still following it all. I still enjoy it all, but I just think 2022 and the play to earn games, for the reasons that I outlined, the ability to have cash flow, just makes them a really attractive opportunity right now, and something that I want all of you to at least have an idea about, because I do think in the future it's going to continue to be a bigger and bigger thing. If it's not these games I mentioned, it's going to be some game. So yeah, I hope you all got a little brief introduction. You know, a couple of the games that I'm looking at personally. You can go do your own research on them. But yeah, leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video, if you want me to do maybe some more in-depth coverage of Townstar, of Spider Tanks, of Guild of Guardians, new other games. Are you interested in this stuff on the channel, or should I stick to just cards? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe for all Empire of Assets content, and I will see you in the next video.